In this chapter, you're going to learn ES6 classes. So classes is another new feature in ES6 which is supposed to make your coding easier. So before we dive in, we're going to go back to ES5's constructors and have a quick review of how they worked and how inheritance worked and so on. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a constructor phone which creates an instance of a phone or a phone class. So in ES5, sometimes we called this a class, but it's not really a class, not the same class concept that you find in other languages like C or C++. So let's say that the function or the constructor takes a make, a model, warranty, color, and we'll just set the properties of the phone like this. And let's say that we can use a default value for the warranty if not provided, and similarly for the color. So here is our constructor. Now let's add a method extend warranty. So you know that it's better to add the method to the prototype of the constructor instead of adding it to the constructor function, right? Because if you add it to the constructor function, every time you create an instance of this class phone, then you're going to create a new extend warranty method, which is not very good for memory utilization. So we add the method to the prototype like this. So let's set the prototype to an object. We're going to have our method extend warranty. Right. So I'm going to use the ES5 syntax. So it's a function which takes a parameter x, and we're just going to increase the warranty by x, like this. Okay, so this is how we did things in ES5. Now, let's say that this is a superclass, and we want to have another class which is going to be a subclass. So again, we are still in ES5, even though we call this a class. Okay, it's just a constructor, we call it a class. So this time we're going to have a smartphone class or constructor. So the idea is that we want smartphone to inherit things from phone. So for now, let's say that you pass to this constructor the make, model, and since it's a smartphone, we want the operating system. All right, so let's set the make, the model, and the operating system. Okay, all right, now let's inherit everything from phone. So for now, let's inherit things that you find in the constructor. So to do that, all you need to do is run the code that you find in the constructor phone. So like that. But we don't want to write this code again. So what you can do is use the function call. Like that. And just specify that this is going to refer to your instance of smartphone. So we're going to use this. So this here is setting this to the instance of smartphone. All right. And then you add your parameters. All right. So we're going to have the make and the model. So you don't need these two lines anymore. All right. So if you do this, then you're going to make sure that the smartphone class inherits everything from the phone class or constructor. But you're not gonna inherit the extend warranty method because that one is actually in the prototype. So let's try and create a variable smartphone using the smartphone constructor. So let's pass Apple, iPhone 7, for example, and let's say that's the iOS we're using, or the operating system is iOS 10. All right. So now if you log the smartphone, this is what you get. All right. So you inherited everything from the phone class, or everything that you find in the constructor. Now, if you try extend warranty, you're going to get undefined because you have not inherited that method because it's actually in the prototype. If you had that method inside the constructor, you would have inherited it. Okay, so now that's one way of inheriting things from the other class in ES5. Now there is another way. So let's go back to our old code. So the other way is that you set the prototype of smartphone to an instance of phone, like this. So for example, Samsung S6. So now if you do that, then you're going to be inheriting everything from the superclass, which is phone. Right, so now let's try. And now you can see that extend warranty does exist, all right, because you have inherited it. So you can't find it inside smartphone, but when you call it, you're gonna look inside the prototype and then you're gonna find it. But something is missing there. So if you remember in ES5, if you set the prototype to something else, you had to go back and make sure that the constructor is not lost. So you still need to set the constructor to smartphone. Otherwise, you're going to lose it. Okay. Perfect. So another way of doing this, so instead of creating a new instance of the phone class, you could also use the create method of the object, and this would have exactly the same effect. So you're going to get exactly the same results if you do that. All right. So let's keep the first one for now. So now if you try extend warranty of 3 and you log my smartphone again, you'll get the warranty extended by another 3 months. All right, so that was a quick overview of the constructor in ES5 and how inheritance worked. So in the next video, we're going to move to ES6 classes.